in the previous lesson, we have seen control components in React and how control components can be used to set up control forms within the components and the form information being reflected to the state of the component. Sometimes you may wish to have a very simple form with very limited amount of interaction of that with your React component. In that case, an uncontrolled form is a much easier way of setting up forms within your React application. Now, as we illustrated in the previous lesson, ideally, whenever you implement forms within your React application, you should implement them inside controlled components. But there are many situations where you may not wish to go through all the expensive setup that you did for the controlled forms in the controlled components. And also, there may be situations where you may wish to just let the form information be handled by the DOM itself. As we realize, any HTML form elements state is already tracked by the DOM. So maybe in simple setup, you will be happy with letting the DOM track the form state and then retrieve that directly from the form. So how do we retrieve this information? Now, every DOM form element has a ref associated with it, from which you can easily use that to extract the HTML form data into your application. And that is what we will do in the exercise that follows this lecture. So we need to tie in a function there to enable us to retrieve that information into our application. Now, this approach of using uncontrolled forms is a lot more easier in situations where you are mixing your React application code with non-React code. So maybe you have a project that is already set up with some non-React part, and then you're adding in React components or React elements to that project to set up some parts of the project. In that case, setting up uncontrolled forms where it interacts with the rest of your non-React code is more easier. Then this is an easier approach for us to use for setting up forms in our React application. And that's the reason why uncontrolled forms are also considered. With this quick understanding of uncontrolled forms, let's move on to the exercise where we will set up a simple login form for the user as an uncontrolled form within our React component.